Hi my lovelies, welcome back to another YouTube channel. I've got something on my lens. I should never wipe my lens with just my finger, that's crazy. But anyways, this is a get ready with me. I've actually never done one of these before. And I thought that I'd use this opportunity to just give basically an update as to where I am with my PhD and what PhD life is right now, how I feel about it and things like that. But we're gonna go ahead and start off with this Smashbox primer. The crazy thing is they actually don't sell these anymore in the UK. I don't know if they sell it in other countries, but it definitely got discontinued in the UK. And I bought this on Amazon, literally the travel size one, because that was the only one I could find, just because I wanted to try it. And absolutely love it, but it is extortionately priced since it is discontinued. Yeah, I like to put primer in these sections of my faces. I only have one. Just because I feel like it helps with pores and also my oiliness that I get in these regions, and I would blend that onto my nose. But yeah, as of literally next week, and by the time that this video comes out, it would be beyond next week, I am a third year PhD student. And it's crazy to think, because I remember my first day, I remember even applying for stuff and thinking, am I gonna get accepted? You know, I don't have the like traditional background for bioinformatics. So yeah, I was just really worried, and I can't believe I'm now in my penultimate year. So much has happened. I've been to Mexico, I've been to Dublin, I've been obviously different places in the UK like Leeds, London. Wow, I've laughed, I've cried, I've had fun, I've hated it. Like, it's honestly been such an amazing experience, and I wouldn't have it any other way. I've spoken about this on a few other videos in the past. I keep mentioning that my PhD is part of a doctoral training program, or a DTP as you might hear me call it, and a DTP has certain requirements that you must fulfill outside of just your traditional PhD, and one of those things is a 3-month placement. I'm literally going on that next week for 3 months, and it's something that I'm really excited about doing. It's in a field that I'm heavily considering joining post PhD. So yeah, I've met the people there and they seem really lovely. I can't wait to tell you more about it. But right now I'm using this MAC pencil. It's the spiked eyebrow styler. What colour is this? I think the colour might actually be spiked. It's the brown anyway. So the look that I'm going for today is very light. It's my lightest version of makeup. All of my makeup looks pretty much are the same. It's just that some are more high coverage or just thicker in general. So because I'm going for a light coverage, I am going to be using a tinted serum instead of my foundation. So this is the L'Oreal True Match in 4-5 medium. My usual foundation, if I'm like going out, is the Estee Lauder, and that is in colour Fawn. This might be a little bit dark for me now, just because I did get this in the summer when I had a nice little tan. Yeah, I've done my eyebrows. I usually would conceal it if I was going out, but since this is a very light look, I'm gonna just go ahead with this. Now, I'm not gonna lie, I'm one of those people who does makeup, outfit, hair, or makeup, hair, outfit, depending on what the outfit is. But today I've had to get ready and do my makeup last, so I'm going to try my very best not to spill any foundation or anything anywhere, but I don't know how possible that's going to be, so wish me luck, guys. Can't believe it. Can't believe it. I can't believe that just happened. Are we serious? Let's go change my top and put this in the wash. I've decided to put this top on. So that no other mishaps happen, and I've already got foundation on it as I was putting it on. Lovely stuff, we're off to a great start. But yes, I've spoken so much on this channel about imposter syndrome. It's something that I have suffered from at times, and at other times I feel really confident in what I do. I feel like recently I did go through a bout of imposter syndrome again, but it was mostly just because things weren't working the way that I would have wanted them to, or I would have kind of expected them to. At the end of the day, it's just easy to forget that like you are human. Things aren't always going to work. Like the whole point of a PhD is not that the PhD itself is so academically hard or so rigorous. I mean, you've come this far. The fact that you're on a PhD doesn't mean that you have the ability to do it. It's more a test of mental fortitude, I feel, more than anything else. And it's also like really easy to forget that people that you admire or look up to in the world of science, whether that be professors or supervisors or just other people in your lab or other labs, they also experience it too. And I feel like I've gotten to understand that over the past, like, I guess going on 2 years, and being able to see even friends who in the beginning also suffered imposter syndrome, seeing them grow into more confident individuals, and still the ebbs and flows, like the weaving in and out of this imposter syndrome. It's like it makes you realize that imposter syndrome itself is actually just silly. Like, it is just ridiculous. We all don't know what we're doing, because if we knew what we were doing, we'd be done. Like, the research would be done. But yeah, it's easier said than done to not feel like an imposter. It's just you need certain things in place in order to combat those feelings. For the small number of you guys that were here when I first started my channel, you may or may not remember I also spoke about friends, and I spoke about also the lack of diversity that you see in higher education, and that goes for Black, Asian, all kinds of ethnic minorities, but for me especially it's Black, because, you know, I'm half Nigerian. I grew up around a lot of Nigerians and other Black cultures, so coming to a PhD I obviously knew that there wouldn't be many Black people, but to really actually see it was something else, especially because I also did my undergrad in Leicester, and I feel like Leicester as a city does attract a lot of students from ethnic backgrounds. So coming to Nottingham and it being less people of colour, and then being in a PhD where there's even less people of colour from that, was a shock. And the thing is, I knew that coming in there wouldn't be many, but it is like, I remember my heart sank like the first day I walked in and there were hardly any Black people. I was literally like, wow. That was when like reality really hit home. Like, I've worked in places where there's hardly Black people, but to see it in a university setting was something I'd never actually seen before. Now I'm about to use my Too Faced Milk Chocolate bronzer. It actually smells like chocolate. It smells absolutely delicious. And I'm using this end of the Strobe and Blend brush from Real Techniques. As I was saying, for those of you who may remember, I was really concerned about whether or not I'd be able to make friends during my journey. I did feel like I was just very different to the kinds of people who typically do PhDs, and it was kind of like, obviously I was going out there and doing things that you would do when you're trying to make friends, like going to activities and things like that, but it was a lot of activities that simply just weren't like things that I enjoyed doing. But now I do feel like I have a solid group of friends. Like, we're not necessarily a group per se, it's more like individual friendships with different people, but I'm fine with that. I see my friends quite regularly. I also made a friend outside of my PhD. You see her sometimes on this channel, that's Ella. So yeah, I have adjusted to life in this city. I did use Bumble BFF for a while to try and make friends. That's actually how I met Ella. Well, it is probably the easiest and most convenient way to meet people. I did have a few, I guess, like friendship dates before I found Ella, but it's just like, it just didn't click. Like, I didn't have any bad experiences though, it's just nothing really stuck. But that's also because I feel like I maybe don't put as much effort as I probably should do, whereas in the beginning of me and Ella, I feel like Ella did show that she was putting in a lot of effort, so it made me feel like, okay, let me try. And I'm so happy that it worked out. We went to Nicki Minaj together this year. We've done a lot of things together, so I'm really happy to have made a new friend. and my Dior blush in Rosy Glow 001 Pink. I usually contour my nose, but I don't do that when I'm doing very light makeup, because I find that when you have more visible makeup on your nose, it looks like you're wearing more than you actually are. This isn't a very pigmented blush, I must say, so I do rub it quite a lot and then put a little on my face just to give it some colour. I'm going to use my setting spray, which is the MAC Fix It. I love this because it's kind of like a misty material. It's not the strongest holding ever, but it does do the job, especially just for like regular makeup like this. And I'm applying my mascara, and this is the very popular Maybelline Sensational. And then to finish off, we're just going to go ahead and do our lips. I literally use the same lip combo all the time, but I'm not going to do a lip combo. I think I'm going to do lip liner and lip gloss because I'm not trying to do too much. I must say though that I'm maybe not where I would have expected or would have liked myself to be. You know, I had certain expectations that by my third year I'd have my first author publication and things like that, and those things haven't come to fruition for multiple reasons. I have to give myself a little bit of grace. I have been through a lot the past year and a half. I feel like my personal life at points was in tatters. We're back on track now, so it's just trying to get that first author publication done eventually. And I still would like to do at least one before I finish my PhD. I also thought that before going on my placement I'd be completely wrapped up on my first chapter, but c'est la vie. Life happens, like it's just is what it is, and I think coming to terms with that kind of triggered another, I guess, like kind of episode or season of imposter syndrome, whereas before I felt like I'd really gotten that under wraps. But I do definitely feel like I'm coming out of it now, and I look forward to coming back from my placement where it would kind of feel like a fresh start again. So that's where I'm at with my PhD. I'm sure there'll be many more ups and downs as the year progresses and as I go into 2025. And I can't believe this time next year I'll be starting my final year. Like, that's crazy to me. I wanted to say thank you so much, my lovelies, for joining me on this journey and this Get Ready With Me. I hope that you like, comment and subscribe if this is something that you relate to, or if this is more content that you'd like to know. This is the true realities of doing a PhD, because I feel like, you know, a lot of Instagrammers, TikTokers, YouTubers that are PhD people, they do tend to show like the easy and nice and aesthetic side of things, but they often miss out the things that are really hard, the things that no one really wants to speak about. So yes, a PhD is not always, you know, roses and rainbows and things like that. It can get very hard, and it will for everybody. No one is exempt from that. It is very hard to keep doing experiments or writing scripts and it just continuously fails, and you just feel like you're right there on the verge of it working, and then you run again and it's failing and you're not sure why. Like, it's very hard mentally more than anything, but we'll get through it. It's really not that deep at the end of the day. Like, you got this far, you can finish it. Yes, this is the makeup look.